Hi, we're Dan and Tina, and this is our 2013 Ford Econoline E150. Well, on the outside, we've got a nice awning here. Also has an attic room, which is handy with the mosquitoes. We've got on the roof, I built a deck. Basically, I used two sets of roof racks and some wood and built the deck. We've got 300 watts of solar power on the roof, feeding through our charge controller. It's all Renogy equipment. We've got 300 amp hours of lithium batteries on board, 2000 watt inverter. So we're doing okay with power. We like to cook with induction cook stove, and we boil water for coffees while we're on the road. I brought the generator as well. We were out in the Yukon. We worked Dawson City this year, and so the power for backup and a bit of extra fuel also, because there's not as many gas stations in the Yukon as there is everywhere else. We've got trusty old diesel heater. Gotta have that. With the tank for the fuel. We've got fire extinguisher, one there and one up there. It's one of those Amazon Chinese diesel heater, the cheaper ones. We've had it now, it's been going for 3 years, and we haven't had a problem with it. Now, I've heard negative reviews about them. I think they're hit and miss with those diesel heaters. But ours has been working fine. We mainly use it in the mornings just to get the chill out of the van. Maybe run it for 15-20 minutes and it gets too hot. Actually, it's really effective. What I like is it's dry. What I hear is people have a problem with mold issues and things, so I think the dry heat from the diesel heater really helps dry things up and helps combat mold. I highly recommend them. If you can afford to go with the Espar, the German brands are much better, but we went with the diesel, Chinese diesel. It was what was in our budget. We've got a fridge, Bouge RV, which isn't a bad fridge. It's been running 3 years. The swivel seat is actually something we really like. We really needed. Without it, we're kind of, sometimes we don't turn it around when we stop just for a few hours and we find it tight. Tina will be sitting on the Bouge RV and then I'll be sitting over on our bucket. We find it tight without the seat turned around, but when the seat's turned around, we can both watch our movies on our little table here. I'll show you our little table. It's one of these things, which is very handy. This pipe is for gas, I believe. Natural gas piping, I think, is what it's. Very cheap. Very cost effective, again, in our budget. The cabinet is a floating vanity. They use them in homes. And when I was looking for a cabinet, they were always too high. So I found this on Kijiji and bought this, put it in. So it's a nice height. Got a little back window, just like a real little kitchen. Yeah, it's got nice storage, basically drawers. We don't bring a lot of dishes. There's just the two of us in here and no room for many guests. So we live basically about 6 months a year in the van. Years and years ago, we owned this van, and geez, that was 30 years ago. We had this van, and as we would be driving to the campsite, we always dreamed about what it would be like to just keep driving up the highway and don't stop, cross country. And well, 30 years later, we had the opportunity and we did it. We bought the van. I find there's a freedom. Like I said, we don't have a scheduled hotel room we gotta be to. We don't have to leave early in the morning, like checkout time is so and so. Although if we're boondocking, we can't really stay long. We don't want to overstay our welcome and ruin it for everybody.
we'll stay at a Walmart, and when we stay at a Walmart, we'll leave by 9 a.m. We're basically packed up, and we'll move on or move to the other end of the parking lot and basically go do some shopping and, go have breakfast or cook our breakfast there.
And here, store a bit of food. We keep our induction cook stove under here. Little sink, one of those foldable sinks. We don't use a sink in the vanity. I found we were using it in the beginning a little bit, and I had a reservoir for the drain in here, the gray water. And we didn't use it that much. So what we did is we picked up a ice cream container, and we'll use this at times. But usually we'll just fill our kettle up with the Amazon pump, which the hose runs back here. We've got a 6-gallon tank. Usually lasts us about a week, a 6-gallon tank for just drinking water. We wash all our dishes using the vinegar and water trick, basically. Storage in under here. Keep our toaster and a few other things. And more storage at this end. We've also got one of those butane stoves. So if our power gets low, then we switch over to butane and save our electricity. I built this, a little sliding pantry, basically. At the top, on the other side of this wood, there's also like a night table. So when you're in bed, you got somewhere to put things. Now we've got a light which also charges my phone when I put it on at night. It's handy. You'll notice A&W cups on the ceiling. They're just stuck up there. The reason that is at night these lights get very bright. So one night we were sitting here and we thought, well, we need some sort of lampshade, and we popped this on. Lo and behold, they fit perfect. So we used foam board under the floor, like the pink styrofoam. But on the ceiling I used rock wool and then a layer of plastic. And it's all sealed in there. Now, I've heard mixed reviews on using rock wool and that type of insulation as opposed to the sheep's wool, and yeah. But so far we've had no problems. I don't see any mold anywhere, but I guess one day we're considering maybe getting a raised roof. So at that point, this will all come out and we'll know then. One drawback I had was the bed, you'll notice, is high. Not a lot of room. It's because I have a heater in the back corner. The heater that came with the van, the rear heater, I left it in. I should have taken it out because then I could have had the bed lower. But it's kind of a catch-22 because we got used to the bed being high, and I get a lot of storage underneath it. So from the back I can store more things. We have a table and a few chairs. The Lugaloo is basically used for like urine only. Emergency, we could use it, but we use the pellets, pine pellets, and basically it'll be for nighttime. While we're traveling, we just go use public bathrooms. But at nighttime, if you get up at night and you have to use a bathroom, then basically we use a Lugaloo, and it's double bagged with the pellets, and then when we get to a rest stop, just tie it up, throw it away.
Challenges. Well, the ceiling. There's not a lot of room on this bed. No, there hasn't really been a lot of challenges. I found it's been something we've wanted to do for a long time, and I haven't found really anything challenging. We've been fortunate in the way that our vehicle has had no issues. I'll knock on wood. But yeah, our vehicle has had no issues. We made it all the way to Tuktoyaktuk with just a chip in the windshield, and that was in the last 10 kilometers of the highway coming back. I think it's probably a little easier on my van not using it in the winter. I think by using it, spring, summer, fall, and then in the winter when we get into the 30 below weather, then maybe that heater wouldn't last as long. if I was using it every day when we're in the 30 below. And also I'll have issues with mold, and so in the winter it kind of stays parked in the driveway. And when I go do my snow removal, if they're calling for 30 centimeters, what I'll do usually is before the snow starts, I'll go to the yard, and my boss lets me park there, and I'll basically live in the van for the 2 days or 3 days that it takes us to clear the snow and get all our work done. So it works out good for that. But otherwise, it's parked during the winter.
The ceiling is tongue and groove cedar, I guess, tongue and groove cedar. Now, we started building this right at the beginning of COVID, and stores, one day they said, oh, starting tomorrow, stores will be closing and you got to order everything. And so I raced to the store and bought everything for this, like my flooring, my ceiling, my whatever I could. And I went and accidentally I grabbed tongue and groove, which I wanted, but then I grabbed this other, it sits on each other. I forget what it's called. It's a different type of, instead of tongue and groove. So as I came across and I got to here, I was like, uh-oh, I got the wrong stuff. And I couldn't just go to the store and change it. So I went with it. So it gets a little different as it goes along. Doesn't fit as good, but hey, it works for us. And the vent is, it's sucks the air out. Basically, it's got the rain cover over it. Now I don't have the remote with it to open and close it, or we went with the cheaper version, which it's right here, so it's very easy to reach. And we opted just for the one fan, which has done us good. A lot of people will put two in, so one will suck in, one out. I did see people customize them. I think it was Simon had customized his where he's got a switch, he could suck it in, pull it out. But I find just pulling it out is fine. Our front windows, what we'll do is leave them open a crack, and then we get fresh air. So it's been okay. This works as like a little bench, but also it's storage for dishes, pots and pans. Basically, we keep all in here. Yeah, plates, bowls. Oh, that lives in there. I was going to put in a bigger cabinet, build a cabinet, but then I thought it'll feel closed in. This way here, it's nice and open. And if there's a few people here, then somebody can sit over here. It's a comfortable seat for somebody. Somebody can sit. The luggable loo. Yeah. The luggable loo, you'll notice, has a cover over it. Well, the cover is actually a dog bed. It's a little dog bed that I went and picked up. And it fits perfect over the luggable loo. So, this is a nice cushion on it. As for drawers for our clothing, basically we've got this. And what that is, that goes under your washer and dryer. You place your washer and dryer on top of them, and you store things under your washer and dryer. And I picked those up on Kijiji and basically installed one here, and there's one at the back doors. When you open the back doors, it opens up, and you can put where you store extra food and things in there.
I bought the van for 11,000 with 85,000 kilometers, and probably put in about, we didn't keep receipts actually, we didn't keep too much track of it, but I'd say probably about another 12 to 15,000 would be what we've invested in everything, most of it being the electrical. The batteries, $700 a piece, so that adds up. And I like building things myself, and it was also cost effective. Our budget it wasn't a small budget, but it also wasn't a huge budget. Yeah, we couldn't just put in anything we wanted, and like I said, with the insulation, we couldn't afford the sheep's wool insulation, and it was also hard to get your hands on it at that time. I don't know what it's like now, but at that time it was hard to, yeah.
The molding you see all around with the roses, That's actually a tribute to my mom who passed away. Her name was Roseanne, so we built the van as a tribute to her. We have three 100-watt lithium batteries, all Renogy. We didn't get the smart ones that have the built-in heater. So what I did is I saw people were doing on YouTube was you get the heater for the tanks, for your trailer tanks, so they don't freeze up. And I put that around my batteries, and in the winter it keeps them from freezing. So when I'm driving, they'll charge up. I do have a DC to DC charger that charges off my alternator. I believe I think it's a 40 amp charger. I'm charging at like 500 watts when it is my vehicle's running, so it charges pretty quick. I did have to, when we first got it, I had to upgrade my alternator. I didn't realize it would take that much of my power, so it was draining my vehicle battery. So I ended up upgrading my alternator, and after that it's been fine. But we do a lot of driving, so I find it really handy. The solar, like right now, I'm getting 24 watts coming in from my solar. That's actually with my inverter on. I can turn the inverter off, which runs this light. It's plugged into it. All these plugs are plugged into my inverter. If I leave the inverter on, it's using about 20 watts just on its own. So we usually turn it off, save the power. But like now I'm 100% on our batteries. I've got a Starlink system that I put up on the roof. Starlink likes to use power. So when we go to bed, we shut it down. Pretty well everywhere we've been buying stickers all over. Now we've kept an area pretty bare around here because we haven't been down east yet. We haven't been past Quebec City, basically, past Quebec. Tina's flown into Nova Scotia, but that's somewhere we want to travel to and get some stickers. So basically this piece of wood is what I use to level the van when I'm sitting crooked. I can put it down, put a rock under it, and back onto it, whichever wheel I need. This here is an extra window cover. I like to leave it off at nighttime. I like to look out the back window. I sleep on this side, so I'll look out the back window. This is my Dixon shirt collection. I like Dixon. I have the Starlink, so this is all my wiring for the Starlink, which kind of lives there while we're traveling. And I put the dish on the bed. Now the foot for it is on top and it's screwed in there. So I just basically jump out every day, grab it, and just pop it in. And then once I power up my router, then it adjusts itself to where it needs to be and starts working. This is the other storage. Got a bunch of food, extra food in there. And then under here I've got storage. I got 2 of these chairs and a table, a folding table, folding legs, which works great. Basically that's what I lived in last year. This year where we worked, we were lucky and they gave us a 5th wheel to sit in. So that's what we camped in for the summer. Down here is the electrical. You won't see much, but I basically followed Will Prowse on YouTube. I think a lot of people follow that guy. He's he's very smart when it comes to the solar. Yeah. So that's everything in the back. One side's more storage, the other side's all my electrical. We're traveling with e-bikes, so I've got my e-bike batteries here still. The e-bikes are in storage right now. I would say it really depends on the individuals. We
we enjoyed camping. I like hiking and sleeping in a tent, and I enjoy that stuff. Depends on your comfort level. What do you find comfortable? Can you use a bucket? That's one thing that some people, it would be something they couldn't do. But best thing would be go out and try it, but don't invest a bunch of money until you've tried it and you know you like it. My personal philosophy on life is live today. Basically, the live, love, laugh. Those three things. Yeah, you never know what tomorrow's gonna bring. Um, I've known people that they didn't have the opportunity to live a long life and do these type of things. And now that we can do it, it's time to do it while we can. We have a YouTube channel, Dan the Van Dan, all one word.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Also, if you want to watch more alternative dwellings, we got a playlist popping up right here, and we release new episodes every single Sunday, so consider subscribing.